the Admiral's picture?
Yes, I
Go back
can.
to our
And
group.
welcome to the Empower Moms Coffee Break. We're so excited to have you here with us today. It's me and the Garden State Mama so far, and there may be one other mama joining us, but I'm gonna go ahead and let her introduce herself. And I'm Monet, the mama coming to you straight from the hill here in Washington D.C. And go ahead, lady, introduce
Hey,
yourself.
it's Marisol Dennis, the Garden State Mama from New Jersey. I'm excited to be here, and I'm more excited that you have joined us for this coffee break.
Yes, I can. And welcome to the Empower Moms. Uh-oh, is that me or you? To have you here with us today. It's me.
Oh, that's so funny. We always have one of those technical glitches. I'm not sure where that came from, but welcome, welcome. Glad you're here. Glad you joined us for this Empowered Mom coffee break.
Oh, you got your mug too. You're ready, lady. I love it. So, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Now, today's topic is pretty funny. Liar, liar, pants on fire. We're not gonna get into that until later on, and hopefully, our mama from up in Canada will join us soon because she actually was sharing that she's been having some trouble with some of that in her house. But before we get into that, we're going to jump right into our hot topics, and I'm actually going to let my good friend Marisol talk about this actually good news for the first time on the show about the first woman to have, I think, the highest rank, right, Marisol?
Yes, she is.
The highest rank in the Navy, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So this is very exciting news for all women. And Marisol, if you can share a little bit about this, I think this is awesome.
Were you able to pull up her picture? Or do you want me to just?
I'm gonna go ahead and share it, and you can go ahead and start.
Okay. Let's see. Let me find it. So, Admiral Michelle Howard, she's a 4-star admiral. She's the highest ranking in the Navy, highest ranking woman, and she's actually the second highest rank, period, men or woman, because she is the assistant naval operator, the chief operator. She's also the first African American woman, and to have this rank, obviously. And let me just look it up because I don't want to get this wrong, but she was actually also the first woman to command a naval ship. So before her, there were no women who've ever commanded a naval ship. She was the first one. I believe that was in 1999. So that's pretty exciting. She's the Vice Chief of Naval Operations, which is the second highest rank in the entire Navy. So she was just recently promoted to a 4-star admiral, and she's the first and the highest ranking woman in naval history. So I am really proud of her. Kudos for paving the way.
To celebrate her. Woo!
I know there's going to be a lot of women to follow her because we have a lot of awesome women in the military, in the Navy, the Army, the Marines, the Air Force. We've got women doing their thing and serving our country and defending and protecting our freedoms. And shout out to my friend Andrea Martinez, who is also serving our country. She's out there in either Afghanistan or Iraq. I think she just came back from Afghanistan and they shipped her to Iraq. She's got like 80 more days to go before she gets home, and we've been praying for her safety and praying for her to get back, and I'm real proud of her. She was actually the first one that shared the post about Michelle Howard, and I found it from our Andrea, and I was like, wow, cool. So I definitely wanted to share it here with all of you empowered mommies, because what better more than an empowered woman like that who is the second highest rank in the entire Navy. So yay!
Yay! Shout out to Michelle. That's awesome. And it's just so encouraging when you hear news like that. Because there's a lot of statistics that are thrown out about women's pay rates versus men's pay rates, and different minorities versus other groups and different things. And when you hear people make these types of accomplishments, it's a glimmer of light in a lot of dark that's basically portrayed and reported on. So shout out to you, congratulations, and we celebrate all of your achievements. So next, this hot topic is actually pretty interesting. a woman in the state of Idaho was actually driving on her way to a prenatal appointment and had her baby while driving. Now, ladies, I know we all can relate to having a baby, but can we all relate to having a baby while driving?
Listen, I've heard of multitasking before, but that's a bit ridiculous.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just, when I first saw the headline, I was kind of taken aback. You know, I thought maybe they meant, you know, she was in the passenger seat while somebody else was driving, but no, she was actually driving her car. She was at a stoplight when she was talking to her fiance and said, "The baby's coming," and I guess the light must have changed because she started driving again and was looking for a place to pull off. And you know, baby and mommy are fine, but I mean, what? I can't even imagine how you could be going through labor and driving at the same time. It's just kind of nuts. Oh, man.
Hey, I see the Island Mama has joined us. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
Hey, lady.
Yeah. I did. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, good. My internet's kind of slow every now and then, so sorry about that if it is. I'm super excited to be here. This is awesome. I was, as you know, busy breastfeeding in bed, like maybe some of you are doing right now while you're watching the show. And yeah, so that would be crazy. Giving birth while driving. I don't know if I can ever say that I've done that, and quite frankly, I don't think I ever do want to say that I've done it before. Insane.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. Like, I got scared, and like, my car jerked the other day when there was a really bad storm, and the thunder, you know, was like, boom. So I can only imagine like trying to focus on driving while you're like having a contraction. Yeah, I don't think I would make it.
I think I'd be pulling over, that's for sure.
She really kept driving? She didn't like pull over, have the baby, and then drive? Like...
She was looking for a place to pull over because she didn't want to block the road.
Oh, yeah.
I think I would have blocked the road.
Yeah.
I would have been screaming for help.
Yeah, me too. Well, glad that baby and mommy are safe in Idaho, and congratulations to the new addition to the family. I'm sure you all are very excited, but I'm sure you had no idea she was going to come into the world that way. So anyway, on to our topic for today.
Well, before we get on to our topic for today,
I just we're supposed to do FIFA, aren't we?
Yeah, I want to do a quick shout out to this World Cup because it has been really crazy. First of all, shout out to the U.S. because we actually did a really great job. You know, we might not have made it to the final. Congratulations to Argentina and to Germany, who are going to be duking it out today. But, you know, it was funny because I was watching reruns and things, and what we don't know, because soccer is really, honestly, we're not huge soccer sports fan, right? We're baseball, football, you know, basketball. That's what we do here.
That's the whole thing. We call it soccer, and it's really football.
Right. But okay. So, but what it is in all the other countries where that's predominant, like football is here, they have they kind of do these tricks where you pretend to be injured to shake people up on the field, and then you score goals or you get advantages. And we're not good at cheating like that, because we don't get it. We don't get that that's a real way to play, you know? And so when I was watching the game, I'm watching all these reruns, and, like, these guys are jumping down and holding, and you really think, like, wow, oh, my gosh, that guy's got injured. But when you show the slow-mo, the guy took the other guy's hand and, like, popped himself in the face with the other guy's hand to make it look like he fouled him. Slow motion, you could see him grab the guy's hand and pop himself in the face. Or like the guy that went down and was holding on like you really thought it was the end of the world, he goes down and then he gets up and looks to make sure people are looking that he's injured, and then he grabs himself again, you know, and he's I'm cracking up because I really didn't know that that's the way they play soccer, but it is in every game. So And I got to say that I feel terrible for Brazil. They really were thwarted on their homeland. It was a really horrific game. They've been playing great. Apparently, they haven't lost in 40 years. So this was really devastating to them, especially because they were in Brazil. I laughed because my priest said if he was the cardinal of Germany, he would have them all go to confession, because whooping somebody that bad in their own land should be a sin.
Love it. That's hilarious. Well, definitely shout out to the U.S. I was proud of you guys. Still am proud of you. You all did wonderful this go around, and can't wait to see the next one. I actually am not a football soccer fan on a normal day, but because they were doing so well, I actually had started to follow it a bit. So it's going to be interesting to see who wins now that Brazil is out of the race.
Shout out to Argentina and Germany for making it to the finals. Whoop,
Yeah.
whoop.
Yep. So, with all of that, we want to move right into our topic for today, and it's interesting that Marisol was talking about cheating, and kind of embellishing, because today's topic is liar, liar, pants on fire. Now, I never knew why their pants had to be on fire, but maybe that's because they were lying and there was something else insinuated there. But at any rate, we're going to have a conversation about young people, children, obviously our kids, whether they're, grown, more adult kids or young kids, and this business of lying or telling partial truths. What do you do about it? Because most of the time parents do know when it's happening, whether the kids believe so or not. And what do you do about it? I mean, I know some parents, they choose to ignore it and not, draw attention to negative behavior so that the kid will continue to do it. Some parents will immediately jump on it. How do you all handle this in your homes? And do you have any advice for the ladies out there who are dealing with this in their homes?
Well, I have to say, as being the mommy of the oldest, and I had 4 that I came through, I would sit them down. Now, this is really funny. When I found out what the topic was going to be, I was like, yes, I get to tell my story. I would sit them down when I knew they were lying, and I would pour them some grape juice, and I would pour me some grape juice, and we would sit, and I would look at them, and they'd be nervous, and they'd drink their little grape juice, but they knew they were in some kind of trouble. And I say, okay, now I need you to tell me the truth. And then they lie, and I say, I know you're lying. Your tongue turns purple when you lie. You can't lie to me. You have a purple tongue. And they were like, my tongue's not purple. And they run to the mirror and they see a purple tongue and they freak out because their tongue is purple. So then every time after that, I would say, let me see your tongue. And if they would go, they weren't lying. If they would go, then I knew they were, because they really believed that their tongue turned purple if they were lying. From that one little one-on-one glass of grape juice.
Okay, so Marisol, what do we do about you lying about the tongue turning purple?
But hey, it worked. I mean, they literally would freeze and not want to show me their tongue anytime they told a lie. They did not. They would do this, and they would not show me their tongue, and I knew they were lying.
That's so funny.
Did you?
Crap a lie.
Did you come up with that on your own?
Yeah.
That is just like absolutely brilliant.
And it worked. I mean, even when the younger kids were younger, my older kids still believed it.
Oh. That's just awesome. I don't think I can actually top that one. I don't know if anybody can. I've never heard anything like that before. It's just
show me your tongue.
Brilliant.
Watch out! Don't drink grape juice around Marisol.
No. Yeah, it's funny because the reason why this topic got brought up today was because I was dealing with it this morning and thought, wow, what a great topic. I know Medisol is going to have something good. And I knew it. I did not know what it was going to be, but I knew what now, and now I know for sure. If I'm struggling with anything, if you're struggling with anything with your kids, just pop Medisol a message. If you're like, post it in the group, whatever, and just say, because she's got it. Like, I mean, for me this morning, I was dealing with the ones that really, really make my blood boil. Like, seriously, there's a few things that make my blood boil, and lying is definitely one of them, especially the ones where the kids do something and I'm standing right there and I'm looking at them, they're doing it, and I say, no, 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 and they deny it profusely. I mean, until they have purple tongues. I was going to say until they're blue in the face, but seriously. And that I just can't handle. So, and I've got another one screaming for me right now. So I'm going to make this quick. Okay. Sorry, I got to open the door.
No worries, Greta. Take care of it. We can give you a quick break.
Okay. Thank you.
I was just going to say that, my son and daughter are very funny because when they're lying, I know right away when they're lying. I mean, what parent doesn't know when especially when they're real young? And I'll look at them and I'll be like, really? And then they just pause. They just freeze. And they just look up at me. And I don't know if they're waiting for me to do something or they're waiting to figure out what their next thing they should say is. And then I'm like, so such and such happened. And they're like, after they've said whatever it was, or, he did it, and, or she did it, and they know that the other person, was the one who did it, and it's just, I wish I knew how to just nip it in the bud before it even gets that far, because it's like they'll say, and I'm like, but you have to understand, the wrong was not doing what you did, the wrong was lying about what you did. And so I really wish there was a way that I could really convey to them, it's better just to say it the right way the first time instead of having to go through all of this. I mean, I don't know if you ladies have any ideas for that type of thing, but I just rather not even have to go through all that and just say, I don't even know what it is that we do to our kids to make them feel like they have to cover things up like that in the first place. Because I always want my children to feel very comfortable coming to me and sharing things with me. Because as they get older, that becomes more and more critical. So even at this young age, at 3 and 6, for some reason they want to hide stuff from me, and I don't want that to become more of an issue down the road.
They don't want to disappoint you. They don't want to get in trouble, obviously, but I think a bigger thing is that they don't want to disappoint. And so I always sat them down and said, it's so much worse if you tell me the truth. You're not going to be in trouble because you're telling me the truth. The trouble comes when you lie. And that's the biggest trouble, because not only that, but nobody can believe you when you start lying, because then you become a liar. And nobody can believe a liar. Nobody can trust a liar. And so that's not what you want to be. And you really kind of sit down all the time, even when they're not lying, even when there's not a situation, and always talk about being impeccable with your word. I saw the funniest graphic the other day. And it goes back to what you said about what do I say when I was lying about the purple tongue, right? And it said, yeah, if your parents say that, are you lying, just say Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, Tooth Fairy.
Hey, that is a good point. And I'm glad you brought that up, because before my daughter was born, when I was pregnant with her, I had a conversation, me and her dad had a conversation, and I told him that was one of the reasons why I obviously celebrate those holidays for the, religious aspect of it because, you know, you're celebrating Jesus and his birth and his resurrection and different things like that. But from the standpoint of the Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, all those things, we do not at all put emphasis on those things. We do not celebrate those things. And so that was one of the reasons why I felt so strongly about it, because I'm like, okay, granted, you know, in everyone's household they do different things, but for me, it just was like so resonating in me. Like, I do not want her to try to flip this on me and be like, I lied, you know, and maybe even question other things, you know, with her faith because, you know, these things don't really exist. So it's interesting that you said that, because that was exactly why I made that decision before she was born.
I struggled with that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard because I've just always, it's lying is just such a big thing for me. It's like my biggest pet peeve. It's just like, what is the point? I remember, I'll never forget the conscious decision, because of course it's like even though it was like my biggest pet peeve, I did it when I was a kid too. And then I came to this point where I'm going to look at that after I'm done, because then I can give you my full attention. Okay? Yeah, so I did it when I was a kid, and then like I said, I remember that moment when I finally made that decision, that conscious decision. I'm just going to tell the truth. And, okay, maybe it was really, you know, like, in some ways it may have been worse for my parents, because I just thought it was great that I could just still do things that I wasn't supposed to do and just, like, blast it in their face, like, in a nasty way. You know, and yes, I did do that. I mean, and that's the thing. I have to remind myself constantly of what I was like, and just bear through it and deal with it as best as I can, as you all out there as well. I mean, we can have all these tips and tricks, and I mean, Marisol, again, I mean, you brought it today with the purple tongue. And I mean,
for years, show me your tongue worked perfectly fine.
Yeah, like, I mean, let's, can you maybe share that, like, in the group, and, like, have a nice picture of, like, a nice big purple tongue? And pin it to the top.
That is so funny.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so I just want to go back to what I was saying earlier. He's trying to put a monkey suit on, so I might have to help him here in just a second. What I did this morning when I was dealing with one of those, infamous lies that I was just talking about where they're actually doing something, like, for instance, this morning it was the older one pushing the little one, and right in front of my face, and I was just like, just please, you know, we don't do that. We use our words, not our bodies, to talk to each other, yada, yada. And it's like, I didn't do that. And I was like, instead of getting angry, because it does make my blood boil, I've decided that things like that are just going to get a timeout. So no matter how old you are, and this goes for myself too, when I mess up, I get a timeout too. And just take a timeout to reflect on, and they have to think about what they did. They have to actually think about it, and when they're ready to come and regroup and actually talk about it, admit to what they're doing was wrong, and then move forward and think about a different way of handling the situation. A lot of it is about communication with them as well, especially as they get older. You can communicate a little bit more, verbalize a little bit more, and that is just really important, so that you prevent it from happening again and again and again as well. So that's what I did this morning, and it worked. And then we had a little regroup, a little family gathering at the table, and talked about it, about how I feel about lying, and especially when I just saw you do it. And yeah, so that's what we're doing.
Very good. Well, you ladies definitely gave some good advice. That's for sure. You you know. Marisol, I am not even quite sure how to say, but I mean that is very brilliant. I have to say.
But the funny thing is, you know, they're innocently sitting there sweating, drinking their little grape juice, worried that they're in trouble, you know. But we're sitting at the table, very calm. We're gonna talk about it, and they're sipping their little grape juice, and they know they're in trouble. Go look in the mirror. Your tongue is purple because you're lying.
That is so funny. And I love the monkey suit. So, ladies, we have come to the end of the show. That was fast. Thank you all for giving your advice and tips on dealing with lying. And I hope this was helpful to somebody out there. I'm pretty sure it was. So, if you ladies don't have anything else to share before we wrap up, then I will say to all our viewers, thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to having you back with us next week. And remember, all week, always be a mommy inspired. Take care.
Bye, everybody.